All right. So I apologize that Director Marchbanks had a personal emergency that he needed to take care of today. But in a way, I think it's very fortunate because I'm pretty sure most of you do not know who Pamela Vest-Boratyn is. You might not have even seen her before, but she's going to give the closing remarks today. When she's finished, please don't leave. We have a few more things to wrap up. But ODOT Assistant Director of Business and Human Resources and Chief of Staff Pamela Vest-Boratyn oversees the divisions of Human Resources, Finance, Legal, Communications, Policy and Legislative Services, and Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion. Prior to ODOT, Pamela worked more than 31 years in state and local government, most recently representing ODOT for 16 years as General Counsel and Chief of the Transportation Section in the Attorney General's Office. Her legal expertise is focused on all aspects of transportation, including construction and engineering, employment and labor, and real estate. Pamela not only served in leadership roles in state government, but was the Safety and Service Director for the City of Reynoldsburg, where she was responsible for administration of 5 city divisions, including the Streets Division. Pamela has decades of experience recruiting, hiring, training, and managing people, as well as litigation of employment and labor matters within local and state government. She is committed to making ODOT a great place to work and furthering the department's vision of becoming a long-term, reliable, professional, and highly productive organization. Pamela earned her law degree from Capital University and holds a master's degree in political systems from Miami University. Please welcome Pamela Vest-Boratyn.
Thank you, Charles. So good afternoon, and on behalf of Director Marchbanks, thank you for allowing me to take this time to close out the program and talk about the importance of technology and how it plays an essential role in the future of the department. So I am going by his speech since he isn't here, so you'll have to bear with me as I look down to read it, although I made some changes to it. So who in this room remembers when we didn't have smartphones, computers, they were limited in their capabilities, the systems were cumbersome, they certainly weren't efficient for our needs? Okay, all right. You know what, and we're not old. So I did all of my master's program typing my papers on a typewriter. It was only at the end when Apple created its first little computer, and they had those great big floppy disks, and I hired a guy who knew how to operate that to type my thesis into that big floppy disk so I could have it. And I did all my research for that on those computers that were all aligned to wall. You fed your paper in, and it came out in those little punch things. So, and I'm not old, so I don't know about anybody else. So, but today, everybody has a personal computer in their pocket. A machine can tell you your directions, when to do banking, how to order food. For those who are sports fans, to check your score, and for those who maybe aren't, to look at your favorite animal posts on Facebook. So, almost 2/3 of Americans own a smartphone, a tablet, or some other handheld computer. And so this advancement in technology continues to evolve at pretty fast speed. And it's not lost, this evolution is not lost within the department, because nearly all of the major systems within the department are being upgraded, they're being migrated and improved with technology. IT is intermingled throughout ODOT's core responsibilities. Technology drives our approach to maintain and improve our transportation network. It's used to determine when our roads and our bridges will be repaired, how traffic flow can be more efficient, how we can apply resources to continually ensure the safety of motorists traveling through the Ohio. Major part of our approach of our asset management. This is data-driven. It combines district office planning and data analytics. So we blend advanced data with local knowledge to ensure we're making the best decisions for each dollar. And the goal there is to identify the most cost-effective and fiscally constrained work program to ensure safe, reliable, efficient, and accessible travel conditions. Another example for technology in our core operations and bridge and pavement activities. So we inspect our bridges every year, Engineers and inspectors rate the substructures, the pillars that support the bridge, and the deck to determine their conditions. It's entered into the Bridge Maintenance System database, along with other data points such as materials that make up the structure, maintenance costs, the average daily traffic estimates, historic conditions information. Then the district engineers review those data. Then they decide, based on the conditions and available maintenance budget, what kinds of treatments or rehab projects or replacement projects they should do that give us the biggest return on our investment. And today we're doing these inspections more safely because we can use technology like drones. They get into places where a snooper truck couldn't. Some places even a super truck can't get. But it saves time and money, and the key too is it also provides for safety for our people. For pavements, we have a pavement system that has advanced algorithms in it that calculate the types of treatments that we need over the next year to 10 years, whatever scenario we want to run. It analyzes the current conditions and tracks the effectiveness of what we're doing and projects the future conditions and needed treatments. So pavement inspectors, they rate each segment of the pavement. They enter into the pavement management system all these details about the type of pavement, the average daily traffic counts, the treatment cost estimates for that geographic area, how quickly the material should deteriorate under traffic conditions and weather conditions, which are different across Ohio. We enhance the data by using high-tech vans who drive the freeways and collect with high-quality video data for each section. The software then analyzes all of this data for each segment. It creates and reviews the treatment scenarios along with the costs, and again, tries to tell us what is the best treatment that we can do and get the biggest bang for our buck. We're doing a lot of other cool things with technology. With the GPS, the AVL application installed in the snowplows, for example, the response and recovery to downtime is faster and more efficient as managers can make more informed decisions, and it ultimately leads to safer roads and effective use of resources. Everybody's heard about the I-670 smart lane that's going to open. That's going to have the existing shoulders for vehicles so that they can drive and get out of the congestion as they're trying to get home from work out of Columbus. And it's a lot cheaper than building a whole new road for what really is about 10 hours of time that we need additional capacity. Our traffic management center analyzes video from hundreds of traffic cameras across the state. They look at speed data, traffic counts, Waze data, bottlenecks, social media, crash reports to keep the Safeway free and operating at peak performance. And all of this analysis only works if our system remains operational and delivers timely data. Drive Ohio, well, you just heard about the exciting activities that are being pursued by Drive Ohio, our Center for Smart Mobility that brings dozens of public and private entities all involved in the design, the development, the testing, the use, the regulation of autonomous and connected technologies together under one umbrella. So approximately 94% of all crashes begin with some level of human error. And if we can use technologies to help drivers make better, safer decisions, then we're all for that. So Drive Ohio is committed to advancing smart mobility in Ohio and being a one-stop shop for those looking to advance mobility solutions in the state. And ODOT's Information Technology Department is vital in supporting and providing technical resources to make Drive Ohio a successful enterprise. Let's talk a little bit about transit, rural transit, because technology is not simply about helping improve our infrastructure and keeping us safe, but it's also about helping connect people to basic services. So in 2015, ODOT did a transit needs study, and that study identified specific needs for technology investment and estimated that you needed about $5 to $6 million spent over the next 10 years to really make the kind of improvements you would need to for rural transit. The transit industry, like every other sector, has increasingly employed innovative technologies to improve service, management, operations, and customer satisfaction. So investment in transit technology is consistent with a larger ODOT goal of using intelligent transportation system solutions to improve transportation decision-making processes and equip travelers with high-quality information. We have 36 rural public transit operators that primarily provide demand response services in these rural communities. rural demand responses don't really utilize a lot of advanced technologies. So ODOT prioritized these rural areas to invest in technology improvements. And we also received a Tiger grant that totaled $6.8 million federal dollars and $7.3 million in total funding. And that grant opportunity was pursued so that ODOT could equip rural transit providers with these new technologies that had been identified that's needed, and provide that capital funds for software and hardware to align and streamline these services, including GPS equipment, AVL systems, and tablets for transit fleets. The project also sought to expand broadband access to eliminate these communication gaps in the southeastern part of the state. So ODOT's been encouraged by some efficiencies it's seen. The Southeast Area Transit seat saw a 14% increase in total number of trips provided after they upgraded their software in 2017. However, the reliability and safety of transit services would be negatively impacted if we don't have sufficient broadband access. So ODOT has partnered with Connect Ohio, who conducted drive tests in 10 target counties in southeast Ohio to understand the gaps in broadband access in that parts of the state. And of course, the Innovate Ohio, under the Lieutenant Governor, is working toward trying to get others to invest and try to really make a difference in broadband going to those parts of the state that don't have it. We looked at Muskingum County and found that the rural transit operators only contracted with one cell phone provider, which resulted in a large broadband gap. But when all the cell providers were used, there was nearly complete coverage of the county. So finding a way to get all of those cell providers to work together to provide seamless coverage, you can jump from one to another to get to where you need to go, that's helpful. So we'll continue to leverage the success of that project beyond the rural public transit operations, because access to these technologies has created opportunities that previously didn't exist. Another significant development, which I think you heard about with Drive Ohio, was these recently received $7.5 million in the U.S. DOT to develop and deploy the automated transportation solutions focused on Ohio's rural roads and highways. 97% of the United States is rural, and more than 50% of the deadly crashes happen in the rural areas. So this automated driving solutions demonstration grant, along with our partners, focusing on these 32 rural areas in Appalachia, are going to provide a lot of data that can be useful, not just for Ohio, but across the country, since 97% of the country is rural. And it will have a benefit of helping folks connect to doctor's appointments, grocery stores, jobs. Again, I think help bring broadband out, which will bring economic development out to these areas as well. So ODOT is always looking for ways to leverage technology to make our roadways safer and our operations better. Technology is not going away, and as we continue to advance along our technologically driven path with policy recommendations, investments, architecture development, and risk mitigation, technology will continue to have a more prominent presence in our everyday operations. And with that, all of you play a vital role to ensure that ODOT maximizes its technological footprint to the benefit of all those living, working, and traveling in Ohio. So thank you for allowing me this opportunity to close the program, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you I think you probably had a very good conference over the past 2 days.